What's going on, everybody? I am the Bad Duck, and you are the internet. Welcome back to another video. Today, we are talking about Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, which just came out today. Technically yesterday. You know, the weird release schedule of movies nowadays is, again, like I said, odd. And I've always had this weird relationship with Transformers. I've always loved it, at least the live-action ones, since, like, the first one came out. And I've always loved going and being excited for the next one. It's just been this weird, like, love-hate relationship with it. Like, I know that a lot of them are not the greatest, but I love them nonetheless. I think that a lot of them are fun times, especially the first one is particularly, like, one of my favorites, just because of the fond memories I have. It's a lot of nostalgia I have locked up with the Transformers franchise, and that kind of went into Rise of the Beast. I was very excited for it. It looked like it was taking another direction from the previous movies, especially after people didn't like The Last Knight. I liked The Last Knight, but it's taking a different direction from the Bay type things, and then going into a new direction and just kind of like staying more coherent with the actual lore of Transformers and everything like that. It looks like it was taking a different direction, and it was very exciting for most people, especially me. But yeah, I was very excited, and walking into the theater, had my hopes up. And that was the wrong idea. Transformers, always, you should expect an average movie, I think, is what you should be expecting. A pretty average, fun time, nothing too horrid, except with, you know, 2 movies. But other than that, usually you have a good time. That being said, this movie is mediocre, to say the least. The visuals are fantastic. Every character isn't overly over-designed, like how the Michael Bay movies over-designed Bumblebee and Optimus Prime. They didn't do that. They kept it basically to the Bumblebee designs, which was fantastic, because I think they reset the universe essentially, basically with Bumblebee. So they made a reference to Charlie from Bumblebee very early on in the movie. So with the reset of the universe, it's like you have kind of clean slate when it comes to canon, and also when it comes to like designs wise. The acting could have been better, to say the least. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world. Yeah, Anthony Ramos, most famously known for Hamilton. He plays someone I can't remember off the top of my head. But he's also going to be the Hood in the Ironheart show coming up on Disney Plus. He's not the greatest on-screen actor. He can act his ass off when it comes to like on like a play, but he can't do it in front of a screen. It just, something's so off about it, and it's not great. It's not fun. It's just kind of there. And not like the Mark Wahlberg or the Shia LaBeouf, like there, where, you know, they're kind of memorable, they're entertaining, they're funny. Anthony Ramos is just there. Same with the other actress. I can't remember her name. I don't remember her character's name either, because she was just kind of boring. Yeah, but the acting could have been much better. The voice acting was particularly good, actually. I actually enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Pete Davidson as an actor, mostly because he plays himself in a lot of things, and almost always named Pete, which, I mean, as an actor, I feel like you should be able to respond to another name. I haven't seen Bodies. I heard he's really good in that, so maybe my opinion will change when I watch that film. But he plays Mirage in this film, and I wasn't particularly annoyed, which I think is a big plus for Davidson. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Davidson, so him not being particularly annoying and me actually kind of liking his character, big plus. Didn't hate it, so that's a big plus. All the animal Transformers, I don't know what they're called. I don't remember what they're called. Perfectly voiced. I think that all were properly casted, and they did perfectly well in their voice direction. Again, Peter Cullen taking over Optimus Prime is never a bad thing. For some reason, they want Chris Hemsworth for Transformers. What is it? Transformers 1 or something like that, or Prime or something. It's something like that. But yeah, they want Chris Hemsworth to take over. But you know, Peter Cullen's still alive and kicking, so why not just get the man who has voiced Optimus for all these years? that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time. But yeah, yeah, the voice action, voice direction, the voice acting was perfectly fine, perfectly well done. Nothing to complain about here. The story wise, overall, Unicron. This is why also I think that why we've reset basically the timeline, is that Unicron is a different planet now than Earth. So I would have really been interested to see Unicron actually be Earth from the last 90s, but it's not whatsoever. We live on. But the story takes place in like the 1990s, which again, I don't know why they're doing timepieces. I don't think it's necessary. I think you can do a modern day Transformers. You don't need to go back in the 80s and 90s and then catch up. There's no reason to do it. But it's fine. It doesn't really change the plot that much. It just basically gets rid of cell phones and stuff like that. So unless they're building up for some reason to 2007's Transformers, which I think would be stupid, because you've already fucked up the timeline then, like, completely. But anyways, yeah, the story is perfectly the story is simple, to say the least. It's that's probably a real time. I'm not gonna be like too like woo with it. It's basically Unicron's trying to come back out of like his like basically Phantom Zone prison, because the animal Transformers back in like a million years ago or something like that basically trapped him there through a warp key, whatever you want to call it. But it's perfectly fine. There's no issues with that, and that's the continuing issue I keep seeing throughout this film. It's perfectly fine, and when you're perfectly fine and you compass that with some issues that I have with some other stuff, like the acting from our main characters and the overall decisions that either A are business decisions or B toy decisions, which I guess it can be business decisions as well, but neither here or there. It dampers the film, and I don't think the film's bad. There's no good reason for me to call this film bad. It's just mediocre. It's perfectly fine. It's just there, and I feel like at the end of this year, we're going to completely forget about this film, and it's gonna be probably in people's bottom 10 because it's just forgettable and it's just boring. But it's not bad. There's no like bad things about the film, and I think that's perfectly okay. I'm in the spoiler territory. I usually don't try to talk about spoilers in a video because people don't see the film, and I just kind of want to give people my thoughts before they go see the movie, or people who've already seen the movie, they can kind of just guess what I'm talking about. I try to gloss over some certain aspects, like I talked about in the Spider-Verse review. I talked about certain things that popped up that were probably in the trailer that I wanted to like expand on and talk about. So, there. All right, moving on. I didn't watch many of the Transformers trailers, so I don't know what was in the trailer. So spoiler alert starting right now. I'll give you like 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Alright, you should have clicked off by now. Just saying. So, in the end battle, which is perfectly fine. It's a CGI mess, but most things have a CGI mess, and this one actually wasn't that badly done. Like I said, the CGI and the visual effects are perfectly fine and perfectly well done. But in the CGI mess of a battle, which all wasn't that enthralling. I was just kind of bored by it. The stakes didn't really feel like well set up. Again, back to the story part, it's just not incredibly enthralling. But in the end of the film, actually, in the middle of the film, or the beginning of the film, it's somewhere like towards like the 30 to 40 minute mark, I want to say. They kill off Bumblebee, which was a horrible business decision. Because why would you kill off your most marketable member besides Optimus Prime? Because people remember Optimus, they remember Megatron, and they remember Bumblebee from all those 5 films. I'm just telling you that right now. Bumblebee is your market, your safe haven for stuff. So they kill off Bumblebee, but whatever. So that takes in for Mirage to be our main like companion Transformers, which I'm perfectly fine with. I mean, companion Transformers that are completely different than Bumblebee. I think we could have a nice RC companion film where like Transformers Prime. I feel like that'd be very interesting to have have different companion Transformers for different characters. I think that'd be perfectly fine. I would love that idea. All right. But anyways, so Mirage takes over basically as the buddy Transformer, and at the end of the film, he basically sacrificed himself for Anthony Ramos' character. And basically, Anthony Ramos is trapped under Pete Davidson's Mirage's corpse, essentially. And throughout the time, I don't remember what happened. It was, again, long set piece that got boring and just didn't enthrall me. But basically, Mirage becomes the Iron Man suit for Anthony Ramos eventually, which what the fuck? Why do we need Iron Man in Transformers? We don't need it. It looks stupid too. The CGI did not get good on that suit. That suit looked really fucking odd. And it's able to hold the whole Transformer, and it's able to do all these weird things that, like, off the bat that not even Mirage could do. So, that being said, didn't like that decision. It was really fucking stupid, and it turned me off right there just from the full film. I was like, okay, I was pretty okay with the film. I was like, all right, the review was gonna be, it was okay. Go see it if you like Transformers, but otherwise, I don't really see much use in seeing the film. But anyways, yeah. So after that, they revived Bumblebee at some point in time through the Energon radiation, I believe, from what was bringing Unicron to Earth. And Bumblebee wakes up because Energon and everything like that. Pretty badass kind of like entrance from him, gotta say that. But my point here is that you don't kill a character in the film and bring them right back. This is what a problem I had with the MCU for a long time, is that they would often kill characters and no longer care about stakes, and they just bring them back within a movie. But they did that within the same movie. So, and then after they end up banishing Unicron back to whatever galaxy he's in right now, Anthony Ramos goes off on a job interview and meets up with this government guy. You can kind of already tell he's a government guy. They hide his face like we're supposed to, like, when he turns around, we're supposed to know who he is. No one reacted in my theater. I didn't know who the fuck he was. I didn't really care for who he was. I think he was in, like, Transformers, like, 3 or 4. I want to say that, but I don't know if he was. Yeah. Anyways, but he's just talking about, like, oh, you were in Peru, even though, like, Anthony Ramos' character didn't really, like, mention Peru. He just mentioned South America, and the job he was doing was basically working for the Transformers. But he's like, well, we already know all about you. We're a top secret thing. I'm like, wait, is there, like, a fucking Transformers Avengers team that I didn't know about that we're doing here, and that was, like, an elite team of, like, operatives? I didn't know. I was like, okay, whatever. So I keep watching, obviously, because I'm trying to figure out what the fuck this guy's talking about. And then he's like, okay, well, we're an elite team, and we like to have you on our team, Anthony Ramos, who has shown nothing of, like, skill besides that he used to be in the army, and now he has a suit, and I'm like, it was dumb. He gives him his card, and I'm like, okay, what's in the card? Maybe he'll tell me actually what the fuck I'm supposed to be looking for, and, like, what I'm supposed to look up when I get home about this, like, Avengers-like team, because it's literally like a fucking Nick Fury, like, recruiting moment. But then Anthony Ramos flips over the card, and it says G.I. Joe. Now, I love G.I. Joe. The first movie that came out in, like, 2008-9 is my guilty pleasure. It used to be the Fantastic Four movies from the 2005, 2007 movies, but, like, I accepted those movies as actually good. But the G.I. Joe movie I know is terrible, but I honestly just love it. But yeah, that first movie is a guilty pleasure of mine. I like G.I. Joe. It's perfect. Like, I'm not, like, obsessed with it, but I love it, like, enough to, like, enjoy it. I bought the Snake Eyes movie. I still haven't watched it, but I bought it because it was Snake Eyes. But we're merging G.I. Joe and Transformers. When we're advertising G.I., like, if they don't do anything with the Transformers G.I. Joe thing together, it's a stupid thing, because, like, why would we do that in the first place? But if it's just like, hey, we want to have a G.I. Joe movie in the next few years, I'm like, that's perfectly fine. I'd be super happy to watch that. But why are we advertising this movie that had nothing to do with G.I. Joe for the longest time? I don't know if, like, Anthony Ramos' character was a G.I. Joe person in, like, their thing, but, like, if he was, no one picked up on it. Absolutely no one picked up on it. So, yeah, that was kind of fucking stupid. I want them to explain it more, and I want them to announce the G.I. Joe movie, at least, that's with Transformers, because if it's not with Transformers, again, dumb fucking marketing move. But yeah, overall, movie's mediocre. It's perfectly fine if you want to go have like a moment to turn off your mind and take 2 hours of your time. Perfectly fine. Go watch it. It's fine. But I'm not going to be gushing over this movie for the next few weeks like I am with Spider-Verse. So I will see you guys probably tomorrow with Spider-Man. I might have to delay it about a day, if anything. But Spider-Man from 2002 is up next. And then we'll go back into the main Spider-Man. I'm going to try to do some of the summer releases as well as the Spider-Man thing. I might have to adjust the Spider-Man schedule a little bit. If I'm thinking about my schedule coming up isn't the greatest in the world. So, but yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm the Bad Duck, and you are the internet. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Remember to subscribe. It's always free. There's merch in the description below, if you guys want. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm the Bad Duck, and have a good night.